How are we doing, YouTube metalers? Welcome back to the Nightmare Cabin. This is going to be my final album review of the year. And now I'm going to be going through, putting together my top 10 end of year list. I'll probably put that in after Christmas, but before New Year. I've got a few other things I wanted to do, but it hasn't quite worked out. And I've just fancy a break. So I was going to do a new album from Voices. I'll be honest, it's not really floated my boat. So I'm sure a few more spins, it might click with me. But I have got a Let's Talk About Akakaka video in the pipeline. So inevitably, I'll probably end up doing all the Voices albums anyway. So I'll probably pick that up then. But yeah, this is the last proper review of the year, and this is Proscriptor McGovern's Absu. I've long overdue this one. I wanted to do this a few days ago, but I just never got round to it. Stunning edition, really nice. You got a slipcase. Ajonia Records, I believe that is. They're the guys that are Pestilence currently signed to now, and Demonical. And if you vinyl junkies out there, I think this is a stunning piece of artwork, and there's stunning artwork throughout. I'll go through I'll show you the CD off, and then we'll get into the music and the background and all that good stuff. As ever with Absu, you get a contents page of all the intense detail that Proscriptor always goes into, but you've got these fantastic bits of art between all the lyrics and liner notes and all the rest of it. As with with these guys, you never just get an album of the artwork, and the booklet is just as important, and it's to be mulled over time, and you get the that's really good, that one, if you can see it. And is there anything else? Yeah, that's pretty cool. And that's the new lineup of the bands. Well, it's a new band, really, isn't it? I don't know quite what went on. I don't see why Proscriptor McGovern had to drop the Absu name and then come out with Proscriptor McGovern's Absu. So we've got a sort of like a Venom Inc. Entombed AD, Nocturnus AD thing going on. But I don't know what went on. It doesn't matter. This is the new Absu album, as far as I'm concerned, and it's stunning. And it just picks up where the band left off. It's nothing. It sounds just like an Absu album. It's exactly what you'd expect from them, exactly what you'd want from them. And it's a fantastic piece of work. I mean, you could say they sound a bit more reinvigorated, re-inspired and whatnot, but they didn't really miss a trick. The last two albums were great. So, before Absu did split, Proscriptor McGovern put together a new lineup, and what was meant to be 3 self-titled albums, Absu, with Absu being slightly spelt differently. So that was the first one, Absu. Then Absu, as in ABZU, and now this is the new one with it spelt how is it spelt? Let's quickly look it up. Is APSU with a little squiggly bit above the U. It's fantastic. It's just as brilliant and batshit crazy as anything else you would expect from Absu. This will be concluding as well my Let's Talk About video. If you're a regular viewer, you would have seen I did the thing where I went for the whole of Absu's back catalogue. This is a fantastic addition to it, and if this is your first time watching this channel, in the description will be a link to that video, and then you can see I've done the whole of Absu's back catalogue. So returning on this, you've got Izizu, I think his name is Paul Williamson, as he's known to his mum. He's back on bass. He was on the last album, so he's returned. And then on guitar, you've got Daniel Gonzalez, who is also in Create a Kill. Fantastic band, fantastic album. Check that out. He's also in Possessed. He was on the last Possessed album, which is also, that was my album of the year. And he's also in Gruesome. And also you've got Arshon from Zemiel. That's that one man project from Greece, which Proscriptor McGovern has recently joined as the frontman in the band's live shows. I don't know if he's done an album with them yet. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, so you've got a nice, good, solid lineup. And you've got guest leads. Again, Blasphemer from Mayhem is back. Eriksson, sorry. And he's been on the past previous albums doing some guest lead work. Ross the Boss from Manowar is doing some leads. How cool is that? You've got Alex Colin Tocquain, I think that is, from Aggressor. Sort of thrashy black metal band from France, from back in the day. And a guy called The Dark, who I don't know too much about. But yeah, they're the 4 people that can contribute in lead work. Basically, this is the most intense, fucking crazy, chaotic album Absu have done in a bloody long time. There's, they would always throw in lots of things in the mix. There's very little of that. This is just balls to the wall brutality all the way through. Of course, there is some little stuff thrown in, some little details speckled throughout, and they will reveal themselves with subsequent listens. But on the whole, this is pretty much just white heat intense all the way through. Cheers. And yeah, we'll get into it. So Amenta, the opening track, some of these track titles are really long. So and some of them have, as usual with Absu, you've got some pretty unpronounceable things. So I'm just going to call this Amenta. Sort of starts off with like a rhythm, some cool riffing kicking in, and as the volume increases, it builds up in intensity, and then you've got like some sort of Middle Eastern vocal, and then it just kicks into this thrash fest, and it's absolutely bonkers. Exoterically, let's get it up again. Esoterically excoriating the exoteric. Let's try saying that when you're drunk. Again, another that's probably my favourite song on the album. It's the one that sticks into my head the most. The drumming is just insane on that song, as it is insane throughout the entire album, to be honest. This is one of Proscriptor McGovern's. It's got to be one of his best drumming performances, and that's saying something. He's never done a bad one, But it's just it's such a chaotic song, and the riff's just kicking. And let's get this focus. Yeah, the riffing on it is just absolutely insane. Mirror Oracles, I think that's Miracles with Mirror worked in. Miracles. Here we go. That's a really good one. Great solo on that one. In between the Gateway Commuters, cool sort of odd times madness on that one. Some great riffs. Cool keyboards in the middle of that one as well. Why isn't this focusing? Let's focus on that. This is pain in the arse. Oh well, you don't need. Oh, there you go. Focus. Yeah, Jupiter as well that is a minute and 46 seconds, and you think, oh right, this is going to be a nice little interlude or a little bit of instrumental to lead into the sex. No, a minute and a half of just absolute battery, and Proscriptor's raspy vocals, really nice. And you've got Priyama and Tantrums. Let's get those. Yeah, Prana, Therion, Akasha, and then Tantrums of Azag KKU. I'll let you pronounce that. These two, I don't know if it's meant to be, but these two songs meld together quite nicely because of mainly the use of keyboards and orchestrations welded in. Again, this is all just intense all the way through it. So when you do get a little bit of keyboard or a little bit of a melodic solo, it does stand out. And this will, the first listen, this album will just, it'll be like a train just, you know, swooning by you and just blowing you away. But with every listen, it all just sort of deciphers itself and just becomes a little less, it reveals sort of hidden details and just makes more sense, really. But yeah, these nice keys and orchestrations in those ones break things up nicely. Now, it's all pretty much balls to the wall all through the album. I mean, it's a 44-minute long album, and yeah, you get the odd 5-minute song, but it's pretty much 3 minutes, 4 minutes. You've got 2 or 3 songs in a row that's just 2.5 minutes. You've got that minute and a half Blast Fest with Jupiter in Capricornus, and it's just heavy and intense and chaotic all the way through it. And anyone who's a drummer, I'll recommend you getting this new album and trying to drum along to it, because it's just absolutely crazy. So it's all pretty balls to the wall all through the album, with finer details woven into the background, and they reveal themselves with each listen, which I said. But the last track is where things get a little bit experimental. So for the first 3 minutes or so, it's pretty much standard, what we've got used to so far. Pretty good, thrashy, it's intense. And then around the 3-minute mark, it kind of just draws to a halt. And then in fading in, it gets this nice, like, cool, weird psychedelic track with like this keyboard, like a synthesizer going. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Doctor Who. So they've gone into the whole psychedelic element of their sounds, and they've gone right into that, right at the end. And then that sort of builds up and then just sort of fades down. And then you get this nice little, beautiful little acoustic bit, which is just comes out of nowhere. And it kind of brings to mind this artwork on the cover, actually, like this big open land. And it's a real, like, lovely way to finish an album, really. And it's kind of like if you do a really intense workout, if you ever do like a spin class or a real high intense cardio workout, when you're doing your cool down at the end, they normally, you know, so it's really intense music all the way through it, and then you have this nice calming music at the end as you wind down and then do some stretches or something like that. It's kind of like that. That's how the album finishes. So it's like they've let you know that they're back with just giving you a super intense album, but then thrown a load of other elements in their sound at the end, just to remind you, no, we're still Absu. We're still got all sorts of craziness lined up for you. I'm sure that this is going to be the first of a multi-album deal, probably a 3-album deal, something like that. And I would predict, although I would predict the next album will probably be a bit more experimental and a bit more different elements of the sound will be a bit more present on the next one, because I suppose this is the start of a new era, and the band would want to just put their stamp down and make it as heavy as possible. So I'm guessing that's the way they've gone for this approach. But yeah, the way it just sort of goes into that cool psychedelic little bit, and then into this lovely acoustic little bit, and then it just at the end, it just kind of goes calm, and then I don't know if it's like banging on a massive cymbal, like, and then there's this ringing, and you just think, why is that there? Is that the summoning of something that's to come later? Because Proscriptor McGovern he's so, you know, it's all about detail with him. There isn't a note, there isn't a drum beat on this album that shouldn't be there, you know. And it's easy to dismiss, you know, the meticulous detail he goes into his lyrics. I just wonder what that is at the end of the album. It's just a few seconds at the end, but it's just like, and then just rings out. And it's not part of any of the other music previous. So you've got these 3 little endings at the thing. You've got the psychedelic bit, beautiful little acoustic bit, and then there's just this strumming of a, you know, like that big cymbal you used to get at the beginning of the films with the guys giving it bang, you know, something like that is the sound, and I just wonder what that is. So, but yeah, there you go. This is the new Absu album. Don't worry about the name change. It carries on seamlessly, and now the 3 titled, spelt different trilogy is now complete, and I look forward to see what they're going to come up with next going forward. And yeah, this is just continues the catalogue along nicely, and a brilliant addition to the whole back catalogue as a whole. So nothing's changed. It's exactly what you want. It's exactly what you're expecting, and it's just as batshit bonkers as anything you could expect from Absu, and it's great to have them back. So yeah, really pleased with this. And yeah, like I say, I'll be a description below. If you haven't watched it already, check out my Let's Talk About video where I go through the band's whole back catalogue. So thank you for watching. Sorry about the blurry vision, but you don't need to keep looking at my ugly mug, do you? You can hear me fine. You're here for the album review, and it was nice and clear when I was looking through all that. So whatever. Anyway, hope you all have a good Christmas and a very happy New Year. And I'll be back in that little bit between Christmas and New Year with my top 10 albums of 2021. And I'll see you all soon. Take care, folks. Thanks for watching. Cheers.